travel full-time in our RV with our dog Kona.
Today we're going to be giving you a full exterior tour of our RV Marty and all the improvements we've made the last 2 years living full-time on the road. Marty is a 2007 24-foot Coachman Freelander on a Chevy Express 3500 chassis. One of the first things that we wanted to do is add some rigidity to the front of Marty because we'd be driving so many miles. We added some rhino liner across all of the exposed chrome in the front, as well as added this bug guard to deflect any bugs or rocks coming on the freeway. Coming around the side, we carried the rhino liner look into the rims purely for aesthetic reasons. These front tires, as we added more and more things to Marty, it was really important to think about the suspension. So as I got underneath it, I saw that the bump stops were pretty worn out and it didn't look like they'd ever been replaced. So we replaced those and that helps a lot. Hitting the occasional pothole or just day-to-day driving, there's a lot less sweat.
Here we have an electric awning that expands our living space and also doubles as a movie theater when we throw up a blanket. We have twinkly lights for when it gets dark out at a campground or boondocking. And finally, we have tinted windows for added privacy and also to reduce heat.
Moving over, we have our first storage compartment of the RV. This is where we keep all of our camping gear and outdoor gear like our paddleboards, grill, firewood, anything else really that can get dirty that we don't want to bring inside the RV and get the RV dirty. When we were remodeling the RV, we noticed that the aluminum shell of this storage box was a pretty easy way to get heat transfer inside the RV, so we completely wrapped it with insulation, and that helps a ton in the winter to keep the RV nice and warm. The other thing that we did with this is add more secure locks to these. Typical RV locks can be not so secure, and since we are having so much of our personal items inside of here, we decided to upgrade those locks just for more peace of mind. The last improvement we made to this storage compartment was adding these wooden legs that double it as now an outdoor table. It's been really convenient for cooking because now we can put all of our prep food and everything on here without actually having a physical table that we need to break down and store inside of it when the lid itself can act as a table.
As Rye just touched on, the RV wasn't that safe due to the locks it came with. So we upgraded to the RV lock. It is a keyless pad and it comes with keys and fobs, which is extremely convenient because when we're gone, we can give the code to our friends or family and have them put in the code so that they can let out Kona while we're gone. Or for instance, we actually were on the mountain last year and we lost our whole key set, which normally wouldn't be a huge issue if your home wasn't on the mountain with you. But we were stranded and we couldn't get into our RV and it was very stressful. But if we'd had this key set where we can just put in a code, we'd have been able to get in. Fortunately though, somebody turned in those keys and we were able to get in. But now we definitely recommend this to everyone. It's amazing and it's just really great for anybody who's living in an RV to make it just easier on your life. This summer we added an outdoor shower. Right above my head there is a mount for it and we connect it to our kitchen sink and it comes outside for hosing off Kona whenever she's too dirty to go in the RV, or even ourselves when we're boondocking, and hopefully when we go down to Baja eventually we can take showers out there on the beach.
The other great thing with that is when Mojave comes in after some back road driving, you can rinse him off pretty easily.
Right, whenever we take out the motorcycle, he gets pretty dusty and we're trying to take really good care of it, so we hose it off as well.
Our next storage compartment, which we deem the garage, holds the EcoFlow and basically all the tools that I need to keep the RV from falling apart as we drive thousands of miles down the road, hitting potholes and taking it places we probably shouldn't. The EcoFlow is the Delta Pro, and we actually funded it on Kickstarter before we even had the RV, which was a questionable decision at the time, but since then we have no regrets. It runs directly off the 800 watts of solar we have on the roof, and we connect our RV directly with our 30 amp plug to it, and we're running basically shore power anywhere off grid and can run anything in the RV, all of the outlets, and don't have any trouble with it at all. Sometimes the most annoying thing about fixing a project in the RV is getting to the correct tool that you need for the job. This used to be kind of a cluster inside of here. I had all the tools I needed, but they were all basically thrown in disarray. Since then, I've added this plastic board material that I attach to the side of the wall and hang all of my important tools that I need pretty frequently, and I also have my tool bag that I can take in and out to carry all the tools I need to wherever I'm working on the RV. With all of this extra weight with EcoFlow and all of the tools, I knew that the stock RV probably wouldn't be able to handle that. So underneath, I added some steel U-channel to reinforce it, just to prevent any damage that may happen with us bouncing up and down on the roads and all this extra weight back here. As you may have seen on Instagram, we just got a KLR 650 as our second mode of transportation for this summer, and it's been super fun. The fact that it can take the three of us out on the trails and exploring in different towns and places that's a little more challenging for Marty to get to has been an awesome time. The thing with it is that it's pretty heavy. It's 450 pounds, and the old RV hitch receiver just couldn't take that. We added the Moto Tote, but as I mentioned before, the hitch receiver that was stock on the RV only had a 300-pound tongue weight. Mojave is 450 pounds, and the Moto Tote itself is about 100 pounds, I believe, so we're way over that. In order to get a hitch receiver that can handle that tongue weight, the modular ones that are pretty easy to install only go up to about 500 pounds, which was pushing it just way too close with having a brand new bike on the back. And so with the help of our friends, we got a way beefier one with a 2,200 pound tongue weight, but we had to take off the old one, get underneath it, weld it onto the frame, and with all of that, we had peace of mind knowing that our fun new second mode of transportation was not going to go anywhere as we were going down the road. The process of getting it on the back of the RV was a bit of a learning curve. You take off the attached ramp that sits on the back of the Moto Tote, and then I get on the back of the motorcycle and handle the weight while Cameo steers and guides it into place, and after that we strap it down on all four sides and we know that it's secure. We also added a weatherproof motorcycle cover to protect from rain and sun and fading, just to again protect Mojave because we've been having such a blast. The other bonus that I wasn't sure if it was going to work, but it just barely did, was it fits with our spare tire on. I thought that we were going to have to take it off, but it just barely fits. Don't mind our cover. It's another one of those things that it's kind of ugly, but it works, and we're kind of on the hunt for a new one. One thing that we found surprising was that Marty didn't originally come with a ladder. So with all the solar we added and just wanting to constantly be looking at the roof and checking for leaks and maintenance, we decided that those collapsible ladders just wasn't a good option because we'd be constantly taking it in and out and it just wasn't right for us. So after calling around a bunch of scrap yards in the area we were at, we were able to find this one off an old dilapidated RV, and this thing was green and mossy and disgusting. So Cameo took a pressure washer to it for about an hour and got it looking brand new. We found the studs in the RV wall and mounted it on there, and honestly you can hardly tell, or probably can't tell at all, that this thing came from another RV. Now we can go up there, and if the solar panels get too dusty, we can easily wipe them off, just increasing that solar capacity that we have, and also just upkeep on the roof.
If you saw our video that was our RV tour interior, you saw that I showed our backup camera that's in black and white. Well, someone else saw it too, Halo View, and they sent us a new camera because ours is so big and clunky, black and white, and we just needed an upgrade, and I think they recognized that, so they sent us the Handy 10 that has a higher resolution dash cam and backup cam. So when we're on the road, we're extra safe, which is incredible because we could travel all over the country, and we haven't really thought about recording the outside of our RV if something bad happens, but now we have that, and it's a security blanket we didn't know we needed. And we can't thank them enough. Thank you, Halo View, for sending us this backup cam. One of our most common questions we get asked is, what is this thing sticking out of the roof of our RV? Well, it's our WeBoost, and it is connected all the way to our dinette, which is convenient for when we are out of service on our phones and we need to pull up maps really quick, because this gives our cellular signal full bars and we don't have to pull out Starlink in a pinch, and also when we desperately need to work on the road. Alright, I'm sitting up front in the RV right now with Ryan's phone, and he has 2 bars with Verizon. And if you come over here to the WeBoost that we got with the RV, it goes up immediately to 4 bars. It's incredible. And a fun fact, it's the tallest thing on our RV, so it's 11.9.
Behind me we added 4 200-watt solar panels, which combined with the EcoFlow runs just about everything in the RV. All of our outlets work, it runs the microwave, we can charge all of our laptops, our phones, electronics, and it works perfectly. Its only downfall is the AC. It can still run the AC, but after about 4 or 5 hours we're running pretty low on power and it can't keep up all day long. So when that happens, we kick on the generator and it makes up that difference. What we can do to stay cool even without running the AC is use our max air fan, which we upgraded to the old RV fan, which is a lot more efficient. It has an intake and outtake. We use the outtake when we're cooking to get rid of all those oils and nasty fumes, and the intake at night pushes cool air over us so we stay nice and cool without draining our batteries with the AC. A major decision we made when we got the RV was taking out the original RV toilet and replacing it with a composting toilet, which was the Nature's Head composting toilet. One of the downsides to that though is you need to ventilate the air out of it, and to do that we had to drill about an 1.5 inch wide hole in the side of the RV. It was a little scary. We just got Marty and we were already drilling holes in him, but it seems to blend in pretty well and we're really happy with our decision to go with the composting toilet. No regrets at all. One thing I forgot to mention about the back and our decision to add Mojave to the RV was it added a lot of extra weight to the rear of the RV, and to compensate for that we added air suspension to our rear suspension. It helps absorb those big impacts, and with that extra weight the original leaf springs and rear suspension couldn't quite handle it, so the air suspension helps it make up that difference. On this side of the RV we have a few more compartments to go over. These are our water controls that allows us to fill up our tanks and then switch it off to have our pump take over. What you're not seeing in this picture is we recently decided to get rid of our big 3-stage water filter that was about 35-40 pounds.
We want to fill up water because the previous owners gave us this great water filter. We need to connect from the water line, run the main water line to the filter, and then run a secondary line into the RV.
And replace it with a filter that's under our sink, and only about 5 pounds altogether. What we were doing before is filtering all 50 gallons of water that we were putting in our fresh tank, which was really unnecessary. We were having filtered showers and filtered dishwashing, and so now we're just filtering the water that we drink. Underneath that, we have our propane, which runs our heater and our fridge. Just running those two things, we only have to fill up every month or so. It's a 9-gallon tank, which really isn't that big, and only costs us about $20 to $25 a month in propane, depending on how expensive we find it. Next to it, we carry all of our hoses and water supplies. Nothing too special in there. And next to that is our generator. As we mentioned, we have a ton of solar and mainly rely on our EcoFlow. But if it's too hot, we'll park in the shade and run the generator, and that recharges the batteries and allows us to be in the shade where it's not so hot. One of the things we wanted to save for last is our exterior paint job. This was definitely a labor of love, and we originally thought it was only going to take us maybe an afternoon or a full day, and it turned out being, I think, pretty close to a week. This was all freehand stenciled with a pencil, and then we took our darkest color on the bottom and our lightest color on the top and hand mixed with the help of some friends these colors in between to create a gradient of this mountain Pacific Northwest scene that we picked because it reminds us of home back in Washington State and the Pacific Northwest. So we take a little bit of that everywhere we go. The trees was a little bit of a trick because I didn't want to hand draw each of those trees because I didn't have enough faith in my artistic capabilities. So I made a little stencil out of cardboard and showed a flashlight behind it and basically made a little projector and then traced that and adjusted the angle and the depth to get some difference in those trees. Before we painted Marty, there was a lot of sun damage, and those typical RV swooshes that you see on pretty much every RV were cracking, and if you really look close, the fiberglass shell itself had these micro cracks all throughout. So when we decided on exterior paint, we went with a really high quality Sherwin-Williams exterior paint and primer. The primer, we gave 3 heavy coats that filled in all of those cracks, and as we added the other coats, it acted as a natural, not so natural sun barrier to protect it from any more UV damage in the future. The decals was a giant pain in the ass, and we used a little rubber wheel and an X-Acto and a heat gun and a combination of those three in different amounts, and it took us about probably 2 weeks on and off of just painstaking labor, on and off ladders, and it was a pain. At the end of the day, it was worth it, and we love the exterior of the RV, and it really fits our style and brings the whole RV transformation together. All right, well, thank you for following along on our exterior RV tour. Make sure to drop any comments or questions you have below.
And be sure to like and subscribe. We really appreciate it, and help support us on Patreon. If you'd like to see our interior RV tour, we'll have the link in the description, and we'll see you again next Sunday at 9:30 PST.
Yeah.